truck? Well, as you can see, I've got a mess to clean up after painting the door jambs. And I've got the bed sides guide coated. And there's Ashton hanging out with me today. And I've got the doors guide coated. And I started block sanding the driver's side door. And they're not too bad, but there are a few areas. There was one area here. You see, I had to add a little bit of filler here, just some skim coat of polyester putty. Had a couple low spots right in here. There's a couple areas down here where you can see I've kind of broke through here, and here. Now this, if this was going to be, you know, a high quality show car paint job, this area down here would get skim coated and sanded flat. But since, you know, this is not what the customer is really wanting, then all of that will be left. It'll be, you'll look down the side, you'll see a little bit of wave in it, but it's not going to look horrible. If it was like this other spot that I just showed you that I skim coated a little bit of putty into, I would have done the same thing down here. This one would have shown up more. So we'll see how much more additional work we got to do. Again, these were new doors, so they really shouldn't be that bad, but you know, new panels, new sheet metal, nothing's ever really dead flat straight, so sometimes you have a little bit, and I have about 3 coats of primer on these, so the primer will fill a lot of the minor imperfections. So we're going to keep sanding away on this, getting these doors ready. These are the next items that I'm going to paint. Once I've got them block sanded, cleaned up, and masked off, I'm going to spray the orange, and then I'll go ahead and mount them back on the truck and get everything lined up as far as my body lines go, and then lay out my border stripe where my brown will go, so that when the doors do go back on the truck, everything will line up perfect. Now Ashton wants to say a few words. What are we doing today? You just gonna smile and look cute? You're not gonna do anything? You're not gonna talk? Got nothing to say? Well, I don't know. He's acting kind of shy today. So we'll come back in a little while after I get everything block sanded out, and we'll move on from there. So one of the other things I've been doing, the customer decided that he wants to go with air conditioning, even though it's a little bit pricey. So I have taken off the original heater box out of here. And on the inside, I've got most of the dash stripped out. I've got the inner box out, froster ducts out. I had to go ahead and take apart the center where the controls go, radio out, because we're probably going to replace the radio also. And also, if you can see right there, that little thin wire hanging down, that is for the gear shift selector, so that needed to be replaced too. I did manage to find a new piece for that, because I really don't know how I would have fixed it otherwise. So I ordered the air conditioning kit this morning, and it should be here in a few days, and we can go ahead and get all that set in.
I don't want you to turn the camera off.
Well, I got to turn the camera off because I'm done talking and I got to go back to sanding. Alright? So, say, catch you next time. See you later.
No.
Hasta la vista, baby.
No.
Adios, amigos.
No. I didn't turn the lights on these cars.
No, we're not turning the lights on.
No.
Alright, you see it. We're back in the booth again. I've got the doors ready. This door is the passenger side door. I had a couple small areas that I had to do. Had a little low spot here and a low spot here that I filled. And when I filled these, I just used some polyester skim putty, and then I used some aerosol high build primer from the Sim company, and just sanded over top of that. sanded that all down. So I've got both these doors ready. They're all masked up from what I painted before. I got to give them a quick wipe down. We're going to give them one coat of the epoxy primer, and I'm also going to do the fuel doors that go on the bed. We'll get one coat of epoxy primer to seal everything, give it a uniform base, and then we'll get the orange applied, which will go in the center of the door here, and there's the small area up the side of the door here will get colored in orange. Once that's on, I'll leave that to set up overnight, and then I will have to take the doors outside to the truck and mount them on the truck and figure out where my border stripe will go for the brown, and then bring them back in here and give everything the second color coat and clear coat. Okay, got my epoxy sealer on, and I've got everything masked off. Again, you know, you don't really have to do this, but since I've been doing it this way, I want to keep things consistent. And I'm just trying to minimize my heavy overspray where my color breaks are. You can see I don't have everything masked off, like the tops of the doors and the bottom of the doors here, because I mean, if it gets a little dusting on there, the brown will cover everything. But I just want where my brake lines are at with the color change, I want it to be consistent with the rest of the truck in case there is any kind of bleed through with the orange in the brown. So that's why I've gone ahead and just taped everything off here. And then after we do our orange, we'll take this off, let this dry overnight, and we'll mount the doors on the truck. Alright, we got the orange done. So now I've got to take these doors and I gotta bolt them back on the truck, get my body line here lined up with the truck, and then I can lay out my stripe that needs to go here. So when I do my brown color where the gray is, everything will match once I put the doors back on the truck permanently. So that's the next step I got to do, is get these on and get my stripe laid out. Then I'll take them back off, bring them back into the booth, and get everything painted brown and clear coated, and these will be done tonight. Don't complain. Alright, as you can see, I've got the door back on the truck. It saved you the experience of me struggling by myself to put this on. But anyhow, I've got my body lines lined up here. So this is where the door will set once it's bolted back on the truck for good. So what I have to do now is I basically need to get my lines, my border stripe, so everything will line up once it goes back on. So since this is our orange line here, we're going to take this tape and we're going to lay it in the line on the truck, bring it across here, and then we're going to follow this up. Just make a radius here. Pretty much follow this orange line. All the way up. Okay. So that's going to establish our orange line like we have here onto the door. And I didn't want to bring it right up to that edge just in case the tape hung over the orange. Then it would be a gray. You'd see the gray primer once everything was taken off to be clear coated. So I made sure I held it back just a hair from the edge of the orange so that when I spray the brown, it'll cover over all of that. Now the next thing I need to do, I have to lay another piece or some short pieces in next to this as a guide to keep my distance correct and that will allow me to have this brown border stripe in here. So what we're going to do, again, we're just going to lay it across the door. What is it, Ashton?
I want to talk too.
Ashton wants to talk too. And we're going to bring it around, laying this right next to the other piece, the first piece I put on. Cut that, and then I'm just gonna, for the sake of wasting tape, we'll come talk. Just laying some short pieces up the length of here. Again, you want this guide piece to be tight up against the other piece. You really don't want to see any orange between the two pieces, but you don't want it to overhang either. This way you get a nice straight line, not one with a lot of waves in it.
Papa, I want to talk too.
Okay, go ahead and talk.
So we got the wheel.
Nobody can see you over there.
So we
You gotta come over here, or you gotta get in the truck. One of the two.
We got this door right here, Papa fixing on. Got this right here. We got this, and I don't know what that is. And we got this blue thing right there, and the tape on. We can't take that off. We're gonna take that off. We're gonna take the blue thing off later.
We're gonna take all the blue stuff off later.
And we got this. This is not, these are missing. These screws are all missing. This one's missing. And those, and got the, this right here. I don't know what that is. I just don't know what it is. And I'm gonna put it back right here. And we got that tool paper here. And we got this door panel right here. And we got that the vacuum right here with the crane step up. And this right here. And this. Don't know what that is. I don't know. And we got this yucky thing right there.
Alright, so these short pieces are going to give me my gap. That is going to give me my brown line. So we're going to lay one more piece of tape in here.
With this door panel right here.
And this piece I can start it at the edge of the door. I don't have to carry it over. I'm just going to overlap it, the door edge just a little bit, so I can wrap it around. And then we just follow the edge of these short pieces. And we kind of just play, connect the dots. cut that one. And now we wrap this around so that our edge stays orange. And that is going to establish our border stripe. So when we paint the brown, this will be masked off, and this will get painted brown. So it'll line up with this brown line here. It'll come right across, up the door, and over. And this, when pulled off, will leave our orange gap here. Orange here, brown, orange. And then the rest of this door will all be brown along here. And the break in the two colors will be covered up by the trim. It's important to use this type of tape to do this, because to try and get a regular masking tape, even a thinner regular masking tape, is not going to give you the contours that you need to make these lines with. So that's where this tape comes in. This is called a fine line tape. It's actually like a plastic tape. So it sticks really well. It holds up to the solvents, and it allows you to make tight bends and radius curves and everything you need to, if you're going to do some kind of flame jobs or stripes or whatever you're going to do, striping like this. This is what I always use, and it's 1/4 inch. They have it in different sizes. It comes 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch. I think it comes in 1/16. So you can lay out different size borders that you need. But this is how you lay out a stripe, any kind of stripe you're going to do on a car or a truck. And basically that's all we needed to do to get our stripes laid out, and that's what we needed to do to put the doors back on. So I'm going to go ahead and take the doors back off, take this door back off. I'm going to get the driver's side door and rinse and repeat on the other side, and then put everything back in the booth and have it, and go ahead and start spraying my brown. Alright, it's the next day. Everything's had a good overnight dry. I got the second color done with the brown and 3 coats of clear on everything, and I think the doors came out really nice. Got the border stripe done. Everything should line up just as it did when we laid it out, when we put the doors back on. Got the fuel filler doors finished up. Driver's side door. So these are ready to go on the truck. I'm not going to put them on just yet. I've got the seat out being reupholstered, and hopefully I'll have it back in the next week or so, and I can put that in before I put the doors on, so this way I'm not having to maneuver around the doors to get the seat back in the truck. So once the doors go back on, then we can put the insides back together, put all the window tracks back in, and the vent windows, door lock assemblies and all that back in it. I'm also going to make up some stiffener pieces. As you see here, there's 2 holes right here. This is where the mirrors will mount to the door. There's a bottom mount here and a top mount up here where the originals were. I'm just going to make a plate that'll go behind here that'll just give this a little bit more, it'll stiffen up the door some there, so that it doesn't want to push as much or deform the sheet metal skin on the door. So that's where we are with this right now. We're going to keep moving along. I'm working on the inside of the truck, getting the transmission indicator cable replaced, and cleaning up the gauges and whatnot, putting those back together. Hopefully the AC kit will be here by the end of the week, and I can start running all the tubing for that, for the vents, and cutting holes in the dash to put the vents in, and get that installed in the truck. Also got to start on getting the bed block sanded, and the last item that has to be painted on the truck will be the hood. So we got a lot of work to do. We're trying to push and get this truck done here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully that'll happen. Just got a lot of little detail things to take care of now that do take some time. Cleaning up the grill and all the trim and everything is going to take a lot of time, but it's really going to make a difference in the way the truck looks when it's finished off. So again, thanks for following along with this project, and I'll catch you on the next video.